Today, I just want to give you a summary on how I got rid of my chronic pain, and hopefully, someone will find that useful. I think, in my experience, might not be as extreme as some. I think some talk often about the experience of not being able to move at all, being excruciating and the likes. For me, it was not really that, but it was really, really annoying, and it was really consistent, and it was impacting my life. So I just want to give you a rundown on how I got better, and from something that was really going in a way of me leading a normal life to today, where I can do whatever I want, more or less, within reason and as long as it's legal. Okay, so I want to put this chronic pain cure, if you like. For me, it was 3 phases, and what's important to know is we all cure differently. It's not just, okay, do this A, B, C, and this is one of the challenges I had, and this is what I want to talk also about today. So the 3 phases that I had, I'm just going to talk about the first phase first. The first phase for me was the physical phase. What I call the physical phase was I was looking for anything physical that could cause my physical pain. It is something that is 100% logical and normal. You have a pain that has to be due to something physical. And then this is a real rabbit hole, because you look at everything that happened in your life. I have someone very close to me, and when she said, oh yes, when I was young, I was carrying heavy buckets. And she was thinking that's the reason why she has back pain, and she probably still thinks it. But it's normal, it's logical. There's nothing really crazy about this. So in this phase, you have scans. You look at the way you posture. You look at if you exercise. You look at the way you exercise. And there's something good about this. You need to have a look about that as well. But this is the phase where you are in the hands of charlatans. You are in the hands of doctors. They say it's $1 billion industry fixing someone's physical pains. You have the physical therapists, the osteopaths, and the likes, and more than happy to take your money. So this is a very scary phase where you feel that where do you go for help, and then everyone is willing to help you, of course. And this is where you can spend a lot of money. Actually, you can spend so much money on this. It is very vulnerable. Just let me stress this. So in that phase, I was looking for the magical stretch. I was going to doctors. I didn't go as crazily as some do with doctors, but I was looking at books and YouTube videos about the body, about what was wrong with my scans and the likes, and I was really looking into the root cause of my pain. And then towards the end of this phase, I book. Towards the end of this phase, I bought a book online that had a lot of 5-star reviews on Amazon, and I thought this is the book that's gonna get me out of there again. And I started to read the book, and this guy was talking about anger, and it's anger causing this. And I thought, oh, come on, give me a break. I don't have an anger problem. This is not me. And for that reason, I thought, well, this is, and I was getting really to the stage where I was getting desperate. I was looking also on Amazon, of course, willing to help me, the little cushion for the car, because I was thinking, because when I drive for a long period of time, I feel my back, and I was just looking why, and I say, oh, maybe it's because of the car, and it's a special cushion that makes it a bit smoother when you drive and the like. So this is something that will come back. It's my speech is, I couldn't drive for long, and when I was driving for long, I couldn't drive anymore for the next 2-3 days. I didn't want to go into a car. And I remember once I did a 3-hour drive, and after I went for a walk, it was a weekend away, and after I thought, oh no, it's hurting too much, I have to go back to the hotel, and I started my stretches again. So this was the end of the phase 1. The beginning of the phase 2 was after a lot of this, I became desperate again, and I picked up that book again. So this book is called Healing Back Pain, and it's written by a guy called Dr. Sarno. He has a bit of a cult status, I give you that. So that might scare you off a bit. But unfortunately, he passed away. But what the first thing that really I liked about this book is this guy is a physical therapist. He's actually head of a clinic, I think, and therefore I would suggest that if you want to start your journey, is just focus on people who look at the physical but are a bit more open-minded. So this guy was a physical therapist who was saying there is something else than the physical that can cause this pain. And I cannot go into all the detail, but he's talking about the physiology and the likes and why. But when you have someone whose job is to fix physical pain, like a physical therapist, who tells you there is something else, I think you have to say kudos to them, because really, it's like saying what I've been doing all those years, and he's admitting what I've been doing all those years was a waste of time. I was trying to fix something physically that cannot be fixed physically in a way. So when I read it for the second time, I read it. I didn't really read it the first time, but so I read it this time, and I read it well, and I didn't see the light. To be honest, I didn't see the light, but it was an opening for me. There is something else. There's a couple of things that triggered me, and I think it's especially around the reviews. People said they've read the book and they felt better straight away. So that started off a journey for me, and the YouTube continued that journey for me, and buying other books too. So because I was starting to realize, yes, there is something there maybe. What is the most difficult is to admit that you might have something that is causing that pain. And I think it's a bit shaming. There's no shame in saying, oh yes, I have this poor posture and therefore I have a back pain. But it's a bit shaming, I think, to say, oh, I have an anger problem and this is causing this. No one has any issue saying, oh, I had a tough day, I have a headache. But who would say, I have a tough day, now I have a backache? It's not it's not being said. It's not something that we hear often, but that's exactly the same. So this guy was starting me off on that journey, and after I watched a lot of YouTube videos about what can cause pain, and I remember the very YouTube video that really got me was a seminar. And the guy was explaining he was not a physical therapist either. He was not a therapist. He was just a guy like you and me, and he was showing slides of bad backs, with the disc being very damaged, and two groups of people, and the same symptoms exactly, and some had back pain and some didn't. And I think for me that triggered something, and I thought, yes, there is something there, because obviously the usual scenario is you have a pore scan and you go to the doctor and they say, oh, you have pore scan here. Oh, we need to do something about this. And they talk about the craziest things, operations, massage, whatever. And then when you hear that makes it worse. And this is something that is very, very important, is you are in the hands of the doctors, as I was saying. And they look at this and they say, oh, yes, there is something there. And then they... and then they milk you, even if they don't mean it, because that's all they've known all their life as well. And we need more education on this. So this is a loop. You go to the doctors, they tell you, oh yes, there's something there, and then you think there is something wrong, and therefore that feeds your pain. That does feed your pain. I was reading this book written by two osteopaths, actually, not one, two, and they were saying that during an osteopath session, there's nothing really that is happening. They cannot extend your leg. They cannot do anything. And I remember I went to an osteopath, and at the beginning of the session, he was saying, oh, you have a shorter leg here. And he did all his manipulation, and at the end, oh, that's it. We really fixed it that much, much better. And it was all BS. It was all BS. But, I was starting to think, oh, maybe that's better. But in a way, that's a good thing about this is that could, trigger you and think, oh, yes, I'm better now. So I'm cured. It's not gonna hurt me anymore. But anyway, after watched that video about this guy presenting this, it was probably not this video alone. It was accumulation of everything that I've been reading, analyzed that did that to me. But I saw the light. It was incredible, incroyable. From one day to the next, I couldn't feel my pain. All the center of my back, which is the main pain that I had, was gone. And I remember I was doing some work at home. I was putting some gravel and I was carrying a lot of stuff. And before listening to that video, I was very, very careful on how I was carrying this. And after I was just, I don't care. Everything's gone. Everything's gone. I was just carrying the worst position possible, and the pain was gone. And from one day to the next, I didn't have to, when I was trying to grab things near the ground, people were helping me all the time. And now I was not doing any of that anymore. It was gone. It was phase 2. I saw the light. There is something else, and just this realization did it for me. So it was not one day, as mentioned, it was a build-up of all those reading material and then the YouTube videos that I've read. So just a couple of I have just a couple of notes here, just to make sure I don't forget anything. Is that the first thing is that for the disc that you have in your back that seem damaged, and the analogy they give is like you to having gray hair. It's the same. That cannot hurt you. It's just a normal aging. And the basic of I suppose Dr. Sarno and everyone else is that we have repressed emotions, and therefore as your body cannot express it through voice, your body has to express it through pain. And I don't want to go into too much solution mode for that very specific thing, but you can try to do a lot of things regarding this. I found journaling very interesting. I've done journaling when I heard about this, and I grew in a way. This is what they say. Once you have pain, you look at other things and you grow. And I express my emotion much more now. When I'm sad, I'm saying, I don't know, I'm sad. When I'm feeling down, I'm down. When I'm happy, when I'm angry, I just mention it more. And the journaling made me understand a lot of things about my youth, about what happened to me. And that's the thing. I didn't have any very, very, very strong trauma when I was young, as opposed to some. And it's a bit despairing because sometimes you read those books and you hear about those terrible alcoholic father or mother leaving home or something like this. But for me, it was none of that. I just had I think a relatively normal childhood compared with some, I suppose. And yeah, so there's something interesting about this phase. Before I go to the phase 3, is that I was in a phase where, and I want to just give you a tip here. When I was doing long distance driving, excuse me, before I had this, I was in phase 1. I was thinking, I'm going to drive, and after 1 hour, so I'm going to have this back pain, and I'm going to have to stretch. I'm going to have to do something. So this is what I was doing. I was driving, and after I was thinking, this is hurting too much. I need to stop. Can we stop? And I was doing some stretches, and off we go. And I was looking, what's my posture in the car and the likes. And then I moved into, I'm not going to have pain. This is not going to happen. And just to let you know, sneak preview, this is wrong. I don't think I should have done that. And this didn't really work, because as soon as I had pain, I thought, so all this is a failure. I have a step back here. The thing that I ended up telling myself is, okay, I'm going to drive. I might have some back pain because I've had it for 10 years and my body is used to sending me this message, and that's okay. So at the end of this phase, I was just driving. I could feel the pain coming, and I was saying, here you come again. Hello, how are you? And some people actually suggest to talk to your pain like this. And I was saying, that's fine. That's fine. Do whatever you like. I was not thinking, that's going to stop soon. No, I was just thinking, do whatever you have to do. That's fine. And every single time the pain was going away. The way you deal with your pain is just incredible. And then it's not visible, we cannot see it on the scan, but the way our brain works with our pain is just incredible. It's just nuts. There's some stories. If you get into this phase, you start reading all those stories about, phantom pain, someone who lose an arm and still feel the pain there, about people having incredible injuries and not feeling a thing because they are distracted. crazy, read, start with Dr. Sarno and read and tell me what you think. Phase 3. Now, phase 2, my main back problem that was preventing me from driving, from leaning, and the night was gone. But although I hated to admit it, there was a little thing remaining. It was just a small spot on the right-hand side of my back here. So it was not, I'm just going to have a drink, but it was more like a fly left in a room, it was a little bit annoying. It was not preventing me from doing a lot of things. The main thing it was, I suppose, preventing me from doing was the sitting for too long. Yeah, this was really the only very specific spot that was remaining, and I'll tell you how I got rid of it before you think, oh, this is not working. So I've just realized that this was the weakest point. This was a reminder. There was something left there. And although it was not preventing me from doing anything, I would never say, oh no, I don't do this, I have back pain. I was moving when I was sitting for too long. And I remember in the end, I was just going on holidays, and just before I was just at the stage where I was just kneeling, and when I was kneeling in front of my computer, and therefore I couldn't feel the back pain. And that was a bit of a workaround, if you like. But I was a bit bothered that I still had this left. So how did I get rid of this? I think there was something missing in my healing process. It was, I was reading all those, I was doing meditation, I was doing all that you can, but the thing that was missing, and it changes from person to person, is a sense of safety, feeling safe, and being reassured, and also during the pain. Not reading before, after, during the pain. And at this stage, I was listening to a lot of YouTube videos, and I give you the link in a video. If I forget, please put it in comments. If anyone is watching this, put it in comments. If I forget, is a guy called what's his name? Jim Prusak, I think. And his YouTube is called The Pain PT. And very reassuring word. And he's also a physical therapist, which is something that really means something to me. It's something that is someone who knows he can give a message, analyze, but he knows that at the end of the day, when something is chronic, it has to do with the brain. And Dr. Sarno that I mentioned earlier, he was saying, when you the biggest injury you could have is to break a bone. I think he was talking about the tibia. That heals in 6 months. So why would we have chronic pain for anything else that lasts more than 6 months? And I remember at soccer we were all, oh yes, I have an old injury. Oh, I have an old injury. And of course you keep repeating yourself what's going to happen. Careful what you wish for, although that's not a wish. So this is this. And there was also another video from a guy, I can't remember exactly his name. Those guys. Well, one of the guys was actually doing everyday type of vlog about the pain, that the pain is BS and it's not caused by physical injuries or the likes. And Jim, maybe less frequently every week, but he had a very reassuring presence, and he still has actually. I think he just went above the 20,000 subscribers. I'm trying to reach his level here, but so he was saying he's just saying the usual. He was just showing you diagrams sometimes, especially at the beginning. People who've healed, and I need to talk about more about people who heal, and about he just to have someone that continuously all the time tell you this is okay, this is normal, you'll get out of this, just relax your body, everything is good. Just having someone tell you that, and this is how I got better. When I was working in front of my desk and I was feeling the pain coming, I was putting these guys, and I was just feeling better after. This was a missing link for me to be able to do something straight away when I had the pain. and then since then it's gone. I haven't listened to him for a long time. No fingers crossed, but I'm sorry if I'm not one of your viewers anymore. But I suppose you've healed me, so thank you very much. So this is it. This is how I got out of it, and there's so many accounts of people, curing chronic pain. I really encourage you to go through this process as well. Now, when I was talking about people who tell their stories, I suppose like me and the likes, is be careful. It's because it can also be a rabbit hole. You can have so many modalities that are being told, and everyone will cure differently. Sometimes I was reading books that were a little bit too complicated. There were some types of programs where they were asking you to do A, B, C, D. And what I realized at the end of the day was this is not caused by anything physical. And really, really understand that, not intellectually, but really understand it. And depending on who you are, you will get the message. You will see the light depending on your modality. There will be something. For me, it was that video. For you, it might be something else. And two, once you've seen the light, just find something that rings true to you and tell yourself it's not going to be something complicated. For me, reading, watching all this YouTube, phase 1, phase 2, and then phase 3, it was finding something simple. Yes, the journaling might have helped a bit. Yes, all the other modalities that I've done, the meditation and might have helped a little bit. Expressing my emotions has definitely helped, I believe. But this sense of safety that I was looking for, it's what really, I think, saved me. And one of those two guys I mentioned, YouTube vlogs, he said what he was really missing was this sense of safety. And as soon as the pain arrives, we panic. As soon as the pain is here, we think, oh, what's going on? Oh, this is back again. Oh, this is not. In the end, this is not going away, is it? I'm going to have that for the rest of my life. And you have all this, and this is really scary. Let's check in quickly. That's it. I think I've covered it. Obviously, there's more and more to say. There's more and more modalities that you could have a look at, and maybe I'll do other videos on this. But I wanted to put this out there. And I've heard people making accounts, and I think it's great. But they don't want to dwell too much on it. So I'm just gonna leave that here. Hopefully, someone will find that useful. And then I'm gonna close this now.